Midnight gaming.
One of those Chihuahua puppy dogs that has a lot of back and a lot of butt.
No, there's none of those. Chihuahuas don't have bite. They just bark out the window at things that are much larger than them.
None of that.
Spike down B. Feeling fed. One down. One enemy remaining. Flawless.
They really just lined up there. Honestly, can someone just like press the clip button? I don't care if you actually name it, but that was pretty funny.
I got you.
Because I liked it. They just like lined up for that. Just sat there and was like, okay. Sound does a cookie bake? Nom 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 nom. We can defuse that. What are we doing? Oh wait, no, we're planting. Never mind.
There.
Oh my god. No. Nobody clip it. Don't do it.
I should have so gotten that. Why didn't I not get that? Oh, why am I
Do
not?
you have any other guns?
Yep. I was just trying not to
Did you
use.
just skedaddle them?
I actually did!
No, revive the good one first. Yeah, so revive Connor.
Like shove it in my face like this.
Yeah. Close your eyes. Throw it. Stop. Aren't you glad you closed your eyes?
Oh damn. Ooh, whoa. Wow. Wow. Why did I do that? Please help me. Jesus Christ, please help me. Give me cookies? No, no, no. I'm sorry, I can't give you my cookies. You'll have to harass someone else for cookies. Sorry, no, no, no. No, I can't give you my cookies. Oh my lord, this woman is like just sucking it out of me, isn't she? Jeez.
Got a clear view, clear way of getting up. A massive, great big fucking ladder.
Oh god, I fell down. I fell down the ladder. It wouldn't let me get back on the ladder. I'm like, run, 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 and they're like, hoo-yah! Hoo-yah!
Okay.
They're like,
I don't know how to reply to any of that.
they're fucking everywhere. I'll give you treatment at the witch's house. Okay. Oh my god, we're carrying him home. Oh, my heart. Guys. Oh. We're carrying him.
Exactly one of those.
Oh yeah, they go like.
What the fuck was that?
That's the sound the dinosaurs make. This is as terrible as the smell of spotted shit take mushrooms. I don't think that's how you meant to say that word, but anyway. Up ahead is the engine room. Okay. Chit chat. Please save any inquiries regarding souvenirs. Shiitake. Shiitake? Did I say?
Unless this is not sugar and this is salt. It says salt.
You can taste it. You can't. It doesn't have a smell. Babe.
Oh yeah, that's no. Midnight gaming.
One of those Chihuahua puppy dogs that has a lot of back and a lot of butt.
No, there's none of those. Chihuahuas don't have bite.
Hello? Ooh. Why am I always knocking my microphone like every
single time I start streaming. And help. Ah! Thank you for the love bomb, Law. How are you? Let me get me music going. Welcome, Law. Make sure you grab second, Law. I know gaming got first. This second. Second. Oh my goodness. No. Oh my goodness, my little kitten. Hacking my headset cable. Yeah, no, so I got our like inspection report back today. And oh, tagged me with the cookies. Legit, there was like 3 crumbs on the kitchen bench, and that was dirty. There was toys in the front yard. That was rubbish. There was a Stanley cup that one of my kids left on the grass. Rubbish. The floors that were all professionally cleaned because I need to make that louder for me because it's very quiet for me for some reason.
Lorello played Dance Monkey for 500 channel points.
Or is it sound split? Oh, it is loud. I don't know why it's quiet. It's weird. Yeah, so yeah, the floors I got professionally cleaned are apparently dirty, when actually the floors are just damaged and have been since we moved in. I didn't sweep in the sunroom. It's a sunroom. It's like constantly being walked in and out of dirt, like because it's all bricks. That apparently I didn't sweep the patio outside, which I did, but then it rained and was windy, so all the dirt just came back on it again. That there is rubbish in the backyard where there is a piece of metal that used to be like dug under the ground. It was there when we moved in, and it was dug under the ground, and like my kids, like as they've been kids and stuff, have managed to like kind of half dig it up. It was already there. It was the most, and we had a really bad like picky manager before, but this one's like 700 times worse. And I'm like, what is happening? Like, actually, what is happening? They were like, oh, you didn't sweep in the shed. The shed is it's like a garage shed. And they're like, you didn't sweep it, and it's got stains. I'm like, one, it's a shed / garage, so of course it's gonna be dirty. It's the shed / garage. Secondly, I did sweep it. Thirdly, there was already stains on the ground when we moved in. And then, like, that our doorway, apparently, like, the pathway in front of the doorway, it was dirty. It's not. Trust me, it looks fine. And there was apparently, cobwebs in the corner above the door. I checked the picture myself. There wasn't really anything. I don't know what she's talking about. And then there was water in the sink, in the laundry, where, like, the laundry sink leaks and has always leaked. I can't even. I don't know what to say about it, honestly. I don't. Yeah, I just can't even. Our rent is now starting this week $580 a week. For a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath, because it's a bathroom and then toilet separately. The only thing going for the house, honestly, is the lot size. If it wasn't for the lot size, there's nothing else going for the house, honestly. 2,320 a month. And, like, we don't live in town or anything like that. Like, we do live semi-near Perth, but it's not in Perth. So it's not, like, in the city or, like, anything like that. And even in the area that we are in, we're, like, on the outer suburb. So we're not, like, paying for, like, a right next to the shop's house or anything like that. I hope you're doing good, Law. How was your game earlier, by the way? Sorry, I'm just so absolutely blown away at the moment by what is going on. $24.99 a month. We started at 1,800. That's wild. I mean, 1,800 a month. That's pretty good. What's that like? Yeah, $4.50 a week. Divided by 4. Yeah, $6.24. I mean, that's pretty average. Here in my area, $6 to $6.50 is average. So we're pretty okay for the price for the area. But it's still way too much. Yeah, no, it's not worth it. That's the thing. Like, it's not even so bit like market and all that, blah, blah, blah. It's just not worth it. Like, I was talking to a friend earlier this week, and they were like, I was like venting about how like I just wish I had a house. And they're like, the dumbest thing is banks are like, you can't afford a mortgage. You wouldn't be able to pay it. But we literally pay somebody else's mortgage. Tell me how we couldn't afford it. It was good. You got further. That's good. I'm really glad to hear. Did you have nice dinner? I think when I was watching, you went to have dinner. Yeah, it's so stupid. It's honestly the most stupid system in the world. I don't understand. I really hope that, like, the stuff that people are trying to put through, like, the greens and stuff, happens, but I really don't think it will. Because in my experience, the rich just get richer, and the poor just stay poor. Oh my goodness. My character's gone. I think I'm looking over the other screen to move the thing. Anyway, sorry guys, that's my little rant for today. I hope it's a little insight into my life right now. I think that just the biggest thing that annoyed me about it was the fact that I paid almost $200 to have someone professionally clean 90% of the house. I paid hundreds of dollars in, like, paint and, like, filler and cleaner stuff and, like, literally everything that you could possibly need to, like, fix things that the kids have broken. Because absolutely my kids have, because they're neurodivergent and they just trauma and they're just kids, honestly. So, like, I repair, like, 99.99% of the things that they do. And so I take that time and I take them that money on because it's my fault. It's my kids. It's on me. But it's just not good enough. I literally got 2 advances with Centrelink. So I'm missing out fortnightly just so I could be prepared for this inspection, and then it wasn't good enough. They had a horrible day. I'm so sorry. Did you want to like talk about what happened? You can if you want. If you don't want to, that's okay. I'm sorry the things are not good. I got my kitties from the bed. They're feeling very sorry. Do you want to see a picture of my kitten? I'll show you. They were all huddling under the bed together. Hey, you Blank! Oh, I wonder why that one didn't get caught by the Ceribot. Being selfless. And someone tried to steal, had to call security. Oh my goodness. That's actually so horrible. I'm really sorry. I've never worked in retail. I worked in fast food, so I never really had to deal with anything like that. But I can only imagine, honestly. Second close everyone. I had to call my boss and bother them so much. I'm sorry. I mean, it's bad. Honestly, I know, like, it's... Oh, I've just turned my Spotify held down by accident. I know, like, it's kind of, I guess, kind of feels embarrassing and stuff, but I would prefer, like, I don't know if every manager would feel this way, but if I was a manager, I would prefer the person message and call so that they get it right over trying to do it without asking when they don't know what they're doing and then breaking something or, yeah, not doing something right. So, I don't know your manager personally, but I feel like I'll probably do this, have a similar thought process. The super understanding, but like, yeah, no, I totally get it. I get it. 100% get it. I hate calling people. Like, I can't even, okay, this is how bad my, like, anxiety and stuff is. I can't even call my own dad to tell him something. And when I was a kid, I literally could not knock on his door as a kid. Like, I had an accident or, you know, was sick or something. I could not knock on it, like, my stepmom/dad's door and be like, I was just sick, or I had an accident. Like, I literally couldn't. I would deal it with myself. So, I get it. And I'm also a people pleaser. Like, a big people pleaser. So, of all people in the world, I do understand. Because I hate when I have to ask people for things. Because I'm like, oh my god, they're going to think I'm the biggest idiot. Totally get it. Did I say hello, Blank? I feel like I did. Hi, Blank. How are you? Sorry if I didn't say hello already. I've already forgotten whether I said hello or not. I think I did though. Oh, I forgot to toggle my hat off. Sorry. Sorry, guys. I feel like Laura's probably going to toggle it back on now that I've toggled it off. I can toggle my glasses off too, look. Oh my god, it's back on. I know. Oh, and I've got different camera angles. So I've got, like, a more far away. I've got high, super close up. I've got a whole body. Oh, see, I told you Laura would redo it. I've got, if you want to check out my shoes, these are my shoes. And then I've got just head, pretty much. My head. We also have some new redeems, that are specific to, specific to, the VTuber. So we got the floating cookie head. It used to say, because I'm really not very smart. Never seen anybody do the things you do before. They say, move for me, move for me, move for me, eh.
Lorella well played Dance Monkey for 500 channel points.
What was I gonna say? Well, I forgot what I was gonna say now. I was gonna say... Oh, I was gonna say, we have some more redeems. So we have Floating Cookie Head, which I can't remember what I called it earlier by accident. I typed something wrong, and then I typed it wrong everywhere. I didn't just type it wrong once, I typed it wrong everywhere. Make Kai dizzy. Aliens are coming. Slime Kai. Also, your daily cookies will throw cookies at my head. Slap Cookie will throw a slipper at my face and have it stick to my face. Pat Cookie gives me a head pat. Dance Monkey does what Laura just showed you. Most of the time, puts my hat on and... Oh! Yeah, just like that. Just like that. Bonk hits me on the head with a bat and knocks me out. And Love Bomb hits me with a bunch of love hearts. And it will have TTS once I work out TTS. So whatever you type in there, it will like... Oh! I'm being abducted and knocked out at the same time! I'll redo the alien for you so you can see it. Hang on. Oh, I'll take it! Ta-da. Teamwork. It was teamwork. Oh my goodness. And I do have some more things coming along too in the big brain that is my head. Oh, hydrate also like splashes me in the face with water. I think that's it. I wish I could do that. Yeah, you need a VRM character, which is unfortunately not your type of character. I don't know if Twitch integration system if tits if that would do it or similar things. I'm not sure. It confirms you cannot be abducted if you get knocked down first. Alien invasion life hack found. For real though. Hello Eldriffin, by the way. I am doing good. Thank you so much for asking. I will have some of my energy drink. That is what I'm hydrating with today. Also, Paris is making me some alternative hat designs. So depending on which outfit I'm wearing, I'll have different hats. So there's that too. I don't know what. Tits can work with VTube. I'm just broke. Yeah, no, I just mean I don't know what, like, stuff they offer. Like, I don't know what... What actually do you get in tits? I love how we're just sort of saying tits and hoping that everybody knows what we're talking about. I was about to literally just search tits. Integrated throwing system. Wow, it actually is hella expensive compared to the one I use. 15 USD or more. Wild. That's crazy. The outfit. Which outfit? Was I meant to get an outfit? Or did you send one to Paris? I'm so I either that or I've completely forgotten to do it. Oh, the one. Oh my goodness! I didn't even remember that you sent this to me. Hang on, let me pin. I'll pin it, and I will work on it tomorrow. I am so sorry. Actually, so sorry. Be my like ADHD. I'm sorry. I've pinned it. Okay. Oh, okay, I see. Up here, the blue one. I got you. Pin. I'll pin both. Second ads? Okay. I'll resay everything. No, yeah, I am sorry, but I will definitely get to it, I promise. I'm so all over the shop at the moment. Oh. Alright. I got you. I'll do it. I've pinned it. I've pinned it. I also have another one as well that is I don't think I have it in VTuber at the moment, but I can show you the welcome back. Hello Rainy. I'm hoping you're back as well. If not, I can say hello again in a second. Oh, I did send it to gaming. Hang on, let me guess that. I'll show you the other outfit. This is my other outfit I've made so far. So I'm gonna have a green hat, dragon hat, like the one that I have in real life, and then I'm also gonna have a black and white one, like the one Paris has. Hiya! How you guys doing? Having a nice fat chat over here. Let me look at my little announcements. Because if you guys ever wonder, I always do this because I think it's a really nice way of people being able to catch up if they haven't actively been in streams and stuff. Or if they've like been away for a while or anything like that. Or they just missed a stream. I try and do patch notes when I update things in Discord and in Twitch. On Twitch. So that then, like, you guys can go back and read the notes and be like, oh, okay, so that's why that's gone. Not like when I accidentally got rid of the Dance Monkey redeem and didn't know about it. But that's fine. So I deleted the Perm VAP, add a command, guide raid, and 8-bit redeem. Redeems. I repurposed the name of Ducky redeem. So instead of you paying channel points for a Ducky, every single person gets to name one duck. So you don't need channel points. Any follower gets to name one duck. And I'm going to write them down in like a Word doc. So you can't name more than one duck. Choose my role and choose my hero. I don't have a system on how this is going to work yet. But I'm going to have a different way to do them. I don't know if I'll do them with stream elements points maybe. Would be a way to do it. Simp mode was changed to Love Bomb. And also significantly reduced in price. So you'll be able to throw hearts at me if I'm in VTuber Model A. And then you can also write something that will read by TTS. TTS is not working at the moment because I have not worked it out yet. GG, Applause, Batman, and I Am Danger will all move to the bits menu for sound alerts, but they are free. So you don't have to pay any bits to use those ones. But they are on the bits menu if you ever if you guys did like them and wanted to use them. The new additions is a floating cookie head for Halloween. Dance Monkey has returned with a rainbow effect on VTuber and a sound alert. Bits thrown at VTuber Cookie when you cheer. Skittles rain on VTuber Cookie's head for raids. For every sub, 1 Pokeball gets thrown at VTuber Cookie. So if you gift 5 subs, 5 Pokeballs will hit me in the head. For every follow, 1 Teddy will hit me in the head. And then Edit's head pat has been added for VTuber Cookie. Daily Cookies now throw cookies at my face. Slap Cookie slaps me with a slipper. Bonk hits me with a bat and knocks me out. Hydrate splashes and Monster Time puts a hat on VTuber card. That's it. That's everything. That's all I've done. The end. No more updates for 7 years, okay? No, I'm kidding. I totally have so many more ideas. But there's the updates for now. I hope you guys like them. It gives you things. I also think I added like slime time and stuff and didn't add that to the list, but that's fine. I'll add it to the list later. And I'm also going to do one that uses this little effect. Oh my goodness. So that's going to be another redeem that I'm going to do. But yes, I think that's it at the moment. They're all my ideas right now. So much work, so much stuff done. But now let's go over. Let's play some games because we've been chatting for a hot minute. Let me swap over my screen. We're gonna play Super Fantasy Kingdom. I did end up purchasing the Steam version because Law was saying that the Game Pass version is quite a few updates behind. So I was like, stuff it, we'll just get the one on Steam. So, oh, you get to choose a hero? Is there other heroes, or do you just have the one to start with? Ooh. Achievement. Can be repaired. Statistics. Okay. Play to unlock equipment. Okie dokie, let's go!
How can this be?
How could everything just vanish? The first step in every run is to place the tavern. If you want to read this game, press T. Okie dokie. Ooh. Hiya! We literally just started playing. How are you? How is the movie? Is it good? Fishing! What are you gonna catch, Blank? Something good? How do I... It says to build it, but then it doesn't tell me how to build it. How do you... Oh, do I... Oh, okay, here. Place tavern here. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I'm not very smart. Resources are going to be used after they've been taken to the castle. Food is stored in the tavern instead. Now you will need wood. Build the lumberyard. Okay. We were just talking. I've literally only just started stream like half an hour ago, so... We've literally just been talking. Last fishing for the month? Oh, I don't think I restarted the fish this month, to be honest, so... Maybe the last 2 months. Combined. Okay. Inspection mode can be used to get more information about the world. It will show you more UI data, highlight interactable objects, and show how many jobs are assigned in all your buildings. Okay. What you mean? What mean, Palace? Inspection mode. Hold on. Ah. Yeah. I mean, we can, but I just started this one. Speed things up, you need more workers. Okay. Up a house. Oh, I can't have a house yet. Okay. Give me a house. Can I chop a tree down myself? Why can't I chop the tree down myself? Morning is over. Monsters start to attack the village. Your units will attack once targets are in range. The monsters will attack once they reach the unit. The only unit you have now is your hero. When your hero dies, you lose. Oh, okay. That's not good. How do I make him... Eh. Oh, is this my... Oh, this is my hero. Okay. I was very confused. Oh, it costs money to move him. Okay, he can stay there then. I don't want to use my money. I've only got 1 coin? Oh my goodness. Why do I not have more wood? Oh, I can put more people. I didn't realize there was actually more people. I thought it only let me do 2 because there was only 2. Wagga! You start with 1 worker on 1 mule. Each house grants 1 additional worker. Mules can only carry resources. If a worker cannot find a job, he will help carrying instead. Okay. Okie dokie. Okay. We'll wait for some more wood. Attack them! Monster time! Monster time! Wondering what it does? It puts a hat on my head like it does in real life. Can I make it fast? Oh, I can. Very fast. Fast. Make it fast, fast, faster, faster, faster. Good. Oh, game saved. What's happening? 5.5 hours left of waiting time, then the big grind begins again. 5.5 hours? Oh, new Path of Exile League launching. Oh, interesting. Barely made it. 11 kills, 0 deaths, 1 glory. Ricard. 100%. I've never played Path of Exile.
My friend.
My friend? And who are you, friend?
I'm no warrior.
Just a forgotten old man.
Try this.
Come with help. Here, take one of these. For free? Oh, okay. Pick a unit. Rock. Place on towers. I think placing on towers could be cool. I just realized I never changed my profile picture from... No, you're forever only coming soon, okay, gaming? You're never not coming soon. Your new name must be placed into a slot now. Inside your city is the bench. Let's go for the bench. Fast! Very fast. Okay, so they can't attack if they're over there. Okay. Most units gain experience. Sometimes... Who is eating the tavern, they do not like to sleep on an empty stomach. Okay. Okay. Oh, we can get the quarry now. Build roads to reclaim your kingdom and explore the world. Roads you build are permanent. You will unlock more and more options at a time. Press the button in the upper right corner to enter building mode. This one? Oh, is this? Oh, it is. I've only got one win though. I can't build any of them. I've only got one win. I need more glory. Oh, I can build up here though. Okay. I need to repair the castle. Woo! What's going on over here? Swordsman. I'll recruit with 4. Ah, yes. How do I repair? Freestone. Okay. Workers go home at sunset. Okay. Already? Oh my goodness. Get him! Yeah. Woo! Into the tavern. Trying. How many deaths did we get today? 16 kills. I messaged you. Wow, the archer did most of the damage. Ricard just sat there and looked pretty. Why are you licking me, Rory? Your units enter the tavern in a random order. They always pick the food most valuable to them. Oh, eating. Oh, is it telling me each type of food is worth 4 units regenerate their hit points overnight? Okay. Or does it use my glory to upgrade this? There's no resource to... Oh, okay. Okay. And... repair the church. I can't repair the church. Hey! Excuse me, I have feelings. Monsters become angry. Oh, it's wood is maxed. How do I need more stone. I don't know how to get more stone. I'm totally new. I have a birth. My fave cookie. It's probably like s'mores, caramel, and purple. I would have never guessed that your favorite color was purple. Like, what do you even mean? You? Purple? Never. Oh, there's the horsey. Yeah, get more of the stone, horsey. I need it. Expensive place. Yes! Okay, to survive, you need more units. Some reside in this kingdom. You just need to find their dwelling. Oh, so now I can recruit them if once I get enough stone. Okay, okay. I'm gonna build all the roads because why not? Oh, goes all over there. Who's over here? A merchant.
What?
My wagon broke down. Help me fix it. Oh, I can't help you right now. I've got no planks. Planks are not my friend right now. I'm sorry. I'll help you a little bit later. New perspective. Look, he's chopping down the tree. Yo. Oh, we can farm wheat. Hey, have fun. Wood to boards. Oh. Yep, away. My name is always Gray. Can I make my taxes more or something? Generate periodically faster with each castle upgrade. Oh, form of coins or faith. Ah, okay, I see. Create a unit. Do I have enough? I don't have enough. I need 4 stone. Get him! Okay. Back. Where did she go? Sorry, Rory's being so weird. She had her surgery today, and she's just So off with the fairies at the moment. Build the road! I don't know if there's a way to make them, like, get things faster. It's very slow. It just is slow to start. Need more stone. Or repair the chip. Oh, have I gotten any of those? Do I only have one horse? Is that why things are slow? I need another horse. I need Law. Where's... Law's played this. Restore your kingdom and start with 1 wood more in future runs. Okay. I did it. I don't know what it means, but I did it. Oh, can I do that one there? And for the people's for the back. Ooh, should I? We'll go wood, I reckon. Ooh, you find your first super material. With it, you can make new items for your armory in the throne room. You can find more of it in the world, on the voyage, or get it from traders. Okie dokie. Okay, I can't have any more.
Ready, please?
I still can't repair their thing. I don't... Where's the horse? Where's our horse? Do we even have a horse? I don't know. I feel like the number 5 thing is not actually what I think it is. I think it might be like level of like priority.
I stand for the light. What? Huh? Don't insist.
Oh, get another person. What's gonna cost me money? Oh. Okay. We'll do it. I don't think we'll be able to put him anywhere yet, but that's okay. I think, yeah, so I think that's... That was, I don't know. I thought that was like how many people applied. Or how many can be applied at a time. Maybe that's what that means. Okay, we made some Oh, I can make a house. Oh my goodness, no, my people are getting absolutely eaten right now. I think we're gonna die. Oh my goodness, we didn't die. Hang on, Rory's having some trouble eating. Be back in a second. Give me cookies? No, no, no. I'm sorry. I can't give you my cookies. You'll have to harass someone else for cookies. Sorry. Sorry. No, no, no. No, I can't give you my cookies.
This 1v1 is one of my favorite fights I've ever had. They have purple, but I 96'd them. I have the wrong gun out.
Oh my god, I can't give up a kill.
It's just that one.
Enemy removed. One dead for you. They were not good enough.
That was close.
You got another one there. Another one there, Cookie. Left. Left.
When you forget that you're a VTuber, cool shirt, Cookie. Oh shit! Right, I went and looked at my real shirt.
I guess I eat go until I get knocked, right? I'm kidding. I'm not gonna.
My life.
And
It's a
I
scent.
never felt this way before. I swear it's the truth. And I owe it all to you.
Amazing. Hit me with your best shot.
Go on and hit me with your best shot. Why don't you hit me with your best shot? Fire away. Yes.
I'm in love with an emo girl.
I fell in love with an emo girl. All I want is an emo girl.
I fell in love with an emo girl. I'm in love with an emo girl.
I fell in love with an emo
You guys are terrible. You're like, what's it called? Yum yum fishes. Piranhas.
What? I'm a
Piranha. I'm a piranha. Exactly. I'm a piranha. You'll not believe what I said. 90 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is in Google terms.
I was about to say in Google.
Yes.
I'm gonna start calling Celsius Google from now on.
Thanks.
5 degrees Google.
Hog, GG! I would go to shoot it. In with the Spectre, even though you're not meant to scope in. I find that you just...
One enemy remaining.
Oh no, 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 sir, please stop, please stop. I do not want your hook in places where it does not belong. Get it out. Thank you. Okay, my dude.
Oh, you freaking legend.
I got you. Don't worry. Oh no, no, no! Oh.
That is so rough.
I'm sorry.
Enemy spotted mid.
You fought well.
Last player standing. One enemy remaining.
Oh my god! What?
Exactly one of those.
Oh yeah, they go like.
What the fuck was that?
That's the sound the dinosaurs make.
Ryan. Well, that's a big dragon in my face.
Dragging these nuts on your face.
Oh, he's back. Sorry, Beanos. He was really struggling to eat. Poor Bean has a one of those collar, cone of death collar, cone of sadness. I don't know what they call it. Because she had a surgery today, so she's struggling to do a lot of things. Managed to work it out though. Oh my goodness. I love you too. I should make that
heart emoji,
only
heart emoji.
for Halloween. Who the heck is this? Who is this? Hello, sir. Oh, you're a goblin king. Oh, oh no. Ah. Alice, what are you doing? The goblin king, guys. I'm absolutely I'm gonna get raped.
Gifted a tier 1 sub
He's
to your
always been
gaming
down
friend
under
underscore.
Tucky
They have given
Tippies.
70 gift subs in the channel.
Thank you so much for this sub. No, no, no. It's so... Okay. We should try to Aeon Tavern. Aeon Tail Tavern soon, though. Thank you, poet. I don't think you asked for it. Lost feasting too? Yo. Oh, Junk Snickerdoodle Cookie. Gaming call me an asshole because Kai won't. I don't reckon gaming is gonna call you an asshole either. Sorry, hun. Oh, I got another person! With boards, you can build a gold mine and repair the church. Gold can be used to recruit and improve units. Oh. Sir, get in the fight. Oh, we need 8 gold to put him in, or 6 gold. Okay, I need to wait for 1 more gold. Surely play that song. I am aware. I am an asshole. What's the song, like, actually called? I know the song, but I don't know the name. Off the top of my... Oh, no! One of my units has fallen! Oh, rap! This king's hard. Okay. I would never... No, gaming's too nice, honestly. Are you sure it's called that? Just like you, I think. That's what came up right at where asshole. I can't find it now, though. See, I really want to hang out with you. Got it. Never again. Alright, I got a reward from my chest. Units with shield push monsters 30% further. Hitting wet targets with... Oh, applies shock. Increase effect of blood burst by 10%. Ooh, I reckon conductor, because we do have the conductor people. Oh, I need to get these. I got my first star! Woo! Woohoo! Yahoo! Na 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 na. I am aware that I am an asshole. I don't care about all of that, though. Oh, I'm sorry, Powers. There was someone else in my was in my area that was doing that as well, actually. Oh, all I've got is berries, and I think my people are a little bit sad. Because they want more than berries. ADD. We said 17. Really bad attitude. Wanna be too close to me. I am aware that I am an asshole. Really don't care about all of that, though. I need 1 more gold. Gimme. Just like you. Oh, who's this? The Death Priest is on a quest. Help by completing the following task. Die. I don't want to die, to be honest. We're going to the road. Whee! Oh, more roads. Whee! Oh my god, there's so many people. Who's this? Be kind. I'm always kind. Who's it? He's sad, I'm sorry. Did I die? Did one of my people die? I was hoping they did, because I need it for the quest, but I don't know if they did. Me, and you. No, nobody died. Who's this? This one's free, huh? Oh. Look at passive ability permanently. Increase melee by 30% against west. I'm really good at reading, guys. Wet target. Okay. About all of that, though. kazoo. Na 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 na. Herb. Okie dokie. William will miss you gaming. Someone's being attacked. Challenge the mini boss. Oh. Need to beat him before he reaches you. Who's this? My home, how could this happen? Village. Oh my god, there's so many things happening in this game. I'm very confused. I don't even know which thing to do first, to be honest. We have another... How many... I'm so confused at how many carriers we have, because I can only see one. I thought we meant to get one with each person. Build a gold mine or repair the church. I can repair the church. Upgrade the lumberyard to unlock Forester. Okay. Prefers a motorcon bee? I have a motorcon or a dead emoticon. And nowhere in between. One of the two. My goodness, there's so many monsters. Look at them all with one eye and everything. Oh, we did get some deaths. Rough. Hopefully that gets that quest done, though. Not that I know how to, like, finish the quest, but... How do I finish the quest? I did it. I did it, though. How do I complete your quest? I don't know how to... So what's going on with these things? Oh, I've accidentally clicked it. Oh well, that's fine, I guess. Oh, and that one. Okay. We can recruit another person if we get enough wood. The worst that I could say. I want to get rid of that because I don't want them making my wood into planks right now. I need the wood. And explains where my wood's been going, though. Members only. Get out! Okay, sorry, ma'am. My greatest apologies. Didn't mean to disturb you. Outbreak is finishing. You never know. Let's see the night. Oop-go. Oop-go. Oh, I can't get rid of the hero. Oh no, I lost! Oh no! Rough. I'll accept my defeat. Separate PayPal for streaming? I do, yes. I have a Z Cookie PayPal. Yes, that I'm the one who's wanted for all the fires you started. You knew the house was burning down. I had to get out. Try out new units and relics to level up. Oh. Oh. My kingdom's going up very much. Okay, so this is my hero. Oh, research a new item for your armory. Yes, please. I got a sword. Oh, I got the achievement. Nice. Okay, so do I just keep kind of... Oh! Oops, I got out of it accidentally. I think you just gotta keep going over and over. Oh, I can choose a thing now. Shield. Increase shield by 30%. Or increase melee by 30% for muscle unit. What do you reckon the muscle unit? You already have one? Oh, well, there you go. Okay. Muscle units! Goblin King, huh? This is my kingdom. Okay, so now I've got to restart. Okay. Oh, but you start with all of the areas. Interesting. Okay. You can choose where to put your tavern in a different place. I'm thinking... Maybe put the tavern here. I don't know when I did that. Why do I have monies? Is it connected to your stream elements? Because maybe when Tim and I have donated you money... happened. Maybe? Maybe, baby? Okay, lumberyards. And we need a house as well. Okay, we need to get... So, we'll take the person off the lumberyard for now. Because they're off the tavern, because we need them for... Here first. Oh, but they're berry picking already. Dude, stop berry picking! Oh, faster! Get over this side! Put him over here, because I feel like it'd be quick to get the lumber to the storage. Oh, we've already got 4 lumber? How did this happen? Oh, because we keep these. Oh, okay, I see. Alright, okay, I see. Alright. Bet. Bright eye. And I need you now tonight. And I need you more than ever. The monsters are angry. Kill them all. I get it right. Oh, we got a sword again. The items you can adjust your build even further. Every unit can hold up to 3 items. Oh, so do I like drag them onto him? Oh. I just hold on to it for now. Skip the tavern bit. Oh, hello, sir. Welcome back, Hermit.
What?
I actually quite liked the archer. Because he does shoot from quite far. Yes, take a sword, sir. No worries, Law. Have a wonderful sleep. Love you, Volvo, mate. You stay adorable. No, yo. Like which monster to fight today? Oh. Dryad. Because they're weak to physical damage. We don't have any magic at the moment. I see. Yeah. Die, Dryads! They're all getting wrecked. Okay. Okay, we need stone. So we need a stone quarry. Yes, you can eat and everything else. Make it nice and fast. Skip time. Travis kind of start now. Oh, which monster do we fight today? Physical damage! Death priests! Oh, we can unlock the Death Priest. I don't know where he went, but we unlocked him. Oh, okay, I see. I get you. Why did they not pick up much stone today? Bit rude. Skip. I don't need any wood right now, so may as well go 2 on the stone. 1 on the stone and 1 on the tavern. We really need food. Kill the monsters! They look like Genie. Alright, we've got 3 stone. We need 1 more. You get another star by facing the boss you haven't fought yet. Ooh. Show me a boss I haven't seen yet. I want stars. I'm a star. I deserve stars. Oh no, I think they're gonna... Oh, they're gonna kill us. Oh. Oh no. Oh. Oh, that was so close. Our archer guy died, but... our main guy did not. Excuse me. Yeah, loco sleepies. Get some sleep. We need sleepies, ma'am. Oh, I only needed 3 stone. Whoops. Fine, I guess. Alright. We need more wood. Gimme, gimme, gimme. Oh yes, start with 1 stone more in future runs. Yes, please. Brown, I could be blue, I could be violet, sky, I could be helpful, I could be purple, I could be anything you like. What was I needing the wood for? Oh, another house. That's what I wanted to do, another house. I was gonna do forager there because to be nice and close to the tavern. Should I let go to just build on your shelf? Get him! Yeah, we got him! Whoop whoop! Who's here to talk to us today? Who are you, sir? Aha, yes. Recruit a unit. Oh, I see dead people. We might go magic because we have the archer and physical obviously, so I think we're gonna go magic. Walk out the door. Wow. Any more little arrows where there's hitting? Just saw one earlier. And I thought, oh, is that what that is? Okay, we need to harvest wheat. Definitely for sure. Oops, what did I put down? Oh, a sawmill. Okay, that's fine. We do the sawmill too. Get up like oh, which monster shall we fight today? Let's go physical damage just because we do have 2 out of 3. I think that ranged. I mean, neither really, isn't it? To the last night of your life, lolly, lolly, I can help it. I like a party. It's here, what have we got? Ah! Got any more of those little purple thingies? We'll save up for next time. When we get another one. I swear like not night. The real life. Okay. Game saved. Oh, boss is magic. Oh, this is gonna be rough. That's okay. Okay, we've got another guy, which is good. That's good for us. Oh. What is that? What are you, sir? Blobby dude. His name is literally Blob. I love that. Yeah, I can help it. I like to party. It's genetic. Definitely get some more food in there, ready to go. Seems we got like 4 people now. Ooh, should we do it? We do need more people though before we get too. We do fisher too as well, actually. Fishermans. Influence on you, on you, on you. I think we're gonna win, chat. Mr. Blob, sir. Get wrecked. Bye bye. Thank you for the star. Have a good time. Ooh, a star. Units power in combat. 30% power in combat for magic with shield. I don't think there's a lot of food at the moment, but that's okay. And we get a 16 wood to get another... yeah, 16 wood to get another person. We'll also do a wheat, I reckon. Huh? Just can't sit still. Ooh, decide which monster to fight today. Physical. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Oh my goodness. Whoa, that's a lot of monsters. You got this, guys. I believe in you. Woo! Crack! Amazing. Amazing. Oh, you, sir, you're back. Silence, yes. Oh, I need to get some faith, I think. So let me change that to faith, because I think that's what that guy needs to do his work. I can also recruit another person. Yeah. Oh, I can need wheat for that guy. And right down the crocodile. The farmer's being attacked. Challenge the mini boss. Okay, let's do it. I bet we can kill him. He's just a squid. What's he got on me anyway? Nothing. I don't know how much health that thing has. Yes, I did it! Woo! You've proven your skills. The undead kingdom awaits. Over 25 units can only be found there. The stars do count for both kingdoms. Try it out if you have any problems progressing here. Oh. Nice. La 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 la. La 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 la. Or pay membership fee. 3. Upgrade the village to start with one more worker in future runs. Yes, please. Yes.
Ready, please?
Oh, yes, I can repair your wagon.
We'll meet again.
Okay, bye. Seems really nice, didn't they? Oh my goodness, so much happening. Oh no, one of our guys got downed. No! Rough. Oh, I can put something here. Ooh. Get 3 times. Sure, let's go wood. We don't need any more stone right now, so we'll get up as stone. We'll lead to another wood. Come back later when you have chosen your fate. Oh, I found a thing. Oh, we can build another road. I was wondering when we got to build another road. Please enlighten our guests. Okay. Hi. You, what are you gonna do? Unlock clown now. Oh, sure. I don't know what that did. It's something. Definitely never asked me how to play this game, okay, guys? Oh, generates coins. Interesting. We need to repair the shirt. Well. Yes, for a shirt. Woo! What can we put down here? A gold or wildlife, wheat to flour, flour to bread. Wow. Quite extensive, doesn't it? Oh, this may be the one that gets us. This is quite intense. Oh, no. Are we still wrecking him even though there was like 700 of them? Oh my goodness. Crazy. People are too good. Oh, tomorrow is going to be thunder. Oh, is this person bringing us wheat? How nice. Hello. Welcome into our town. We would love to have your wheat. Thank you. Oh, nice. I've always wanted wheat. Have you guys ever wanted wheat? Try to stay. Ah. Find another way. Time to survive. We need to get the berry one. Just get up. Wow, you can. This is gonna be a very intense round, I feel like. Just because there is lots of monsters. Well, let's just see how we go. Oh, we got the market now. Oh, we can buy things. New wares each week. Ooh. I want to buy some of that that meat. Thanks. Beautiful. Thank you. Beautiful. I'll have a little bit of meat. Nice pork chop. Oh, we're so out. So done, honestly. No way we win this. Unless my characters are cracked as. Oh my god, they must be. Look at them go! Then none of them died! Crazy. Just that good. Isn't ghetto. Yeah. Oh, we can build another road. I really like the idea that you get to build more roads and, like, get more buildings as you, like, progress through the game. It's a really good way to do it. Got a fancy woodcutter. We need lots of wood. I want to get another guy, another, like, another worker, so 16 wood for that. My guys are absolutely just like wrecking these monsters, honestly. They're so good. Ooh, another road. Oh, I can't get any more. Oh, I need gold to upgrade. Ooh. Okay, so we need to get wood planks. Oh no, we lost! I just worked it out what I was meant to do. I'll accept defeat, because I reckon we'll be able to get some more stuff if we do that. Oh look, we've got so many other people, look at this! I get more things? Or, oh, okay. So what's this guy? Oh. Oh, I need 10 things to unlock him. Okay, so I can put another item on. I bet.
This is impossible.
Why am I alive again? Because I said so. Be alive. Blow me one last year. This. Alright, make a team site 2 times fast. 3 times fast. Alright, a nice easy start to the game. Into the tea oven. Yep, nice easy start to the day. Yes, hello, sir. Got Archer again, to be honest. I like the Archer. Really do. Worse, I've had. We'll get rid of the wood guy for now because we've got full on wood and we need stove. Living in our uptown world. Skip. Okay, we've got enough stone. And who knows what he wants from her? Hello, Rory. What's up? Yo. 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 Rory's come to say hello, guys. Off you go. I don't want to run your tail over. Go. Oh, careful. Poor thing really can't navigate with that big cone on her head. There you go. Good girl. Good girl. You're okay. Hi. Hi. What do you want to say hello properly? You do. You want to say hello? All right. Come here. No? Hello. Gotta be careful. Ever. Ooh. Hi. My kitten's come to say hello. She's feeling a bit sad because she had surgery today. She's feeling a little bit sad for herself. Yo. This is from the shore. Oh, hello. Yeah. You trying to nudge me? You trying to nudge me? Oh, she just wants love. Putting her head down and wanting nice long pats. Hi. Okay, we need 4 wood to get that guy. We can build another road. Oh, hello. Oh, what are you doing? Hey, going. Oh, we have another roadie as well over here. There's roads everywhere, guys. Oh, this one goes far. Oh, hello, Rory. Oh, you're trying to sit right on top of me, are you? Yeah, I'll move the keyboard for you. Sit right next to Mum. Hi. Hello. Hello. Sorry, she's been so distracting, but she's just too cute. I feel so bad because she's probably in so much pain. She just wants to be loved. Don't you, Roro? You just want to be loved. Welcome! Ah, yes, that's right. I fixed that merchant. I don't want to spend... I don't want to spend my gold. Nothing. Sorry. Sorry. Hey, Rory, you're okay. Quarry, okay. Oh, I've forgotten what I'm building, to be honest. Gonna give my kitty lots of love. Oh yes, I love you. Look at this. Careful. Careful. What are you doing? What are you doing? Let me in. What are you doing? Just forced my mouse off the mouse pad. She's like, I fit, I sit. Alright. Once, we'll get through this, like, run, and then we'll probably end. See how we go, see how far we can get. I like this game, actually, though. I think it's really cool.
I can't do that.
Very different, than I've seen other games. That's okay, you can keep your people. I can't afford anybody right now. I know, but it's very late. It's very late. Everyone was very sad. Feeling very sad. Just sitting here with her head down, like, Mom, I love you, love me. Making it very hard to play. Yes, hello, I'm still here. I'm not going anywhere, okay? I'm right here. Keeps nudging me. And like I've left her or something. And okay, so we need wood to board. Probably start trying to do the process for flour to bread as well, I reckon. We need to harvest wheat though. Yes, Rory, I'm not going anywhere. Yes, I can. Yeah. I'm trying to work out where all my like people are applied to because I'm not really sure. Don't hack my cable, man. One there. One there. One there. Where the fourth one? 1, 2, 3. I said 4 earlier. There is a chilling, isn't he? Oh, we got Blob's back. The Blobby's back. Yeah. We'll do a bread. Hello, Rory. Anytime I move my hand like anywhere away from her, she's like, "Excuse me? Where'd you go?" It's also really hard to use my mouse because she's like forced me off my own mouse pad. Get rid of the blob! Alright. What do we get in our chest? Yeah, metal arrow. Good. What are we attacking for? Eh? Grab. up this mirror, say something. Feel better. I'll tell you, my friend. Oh, I Ooh, rest fallen unit. Graveyard. I'm gonna see what that does. Drag a dead unit onto the ground to free up a slot. Its death will not be punished. At night, it will automatically bury a random dead unit if you forgot about it. Okay. See how that goes. We feel better now.
Come on, man.
Come on, man. The apple on the other side. Oh, hello, Rory. Are you skipping on me? I don't know how to do this one. I want to get another dude that we can get. Bernie. The quarry. Quarry? Workers go home already? Jesus, I feel like I've just started this day. I want one of them to die, but they won't die. I want to see what happens when they die. I need another week. Thank you. Finally. Give me this guy. I don't know who this is, but we're having him. Who is he? He's a monk. Monk. Does he like heal or something? What's his support? Oh yeah, so maybe he heals. He does attack. Okay. I don't know then. Oh, we've got. Oh, is it already nighttime? Oh my goodness, why does nighttime come so fast? Nighttime literally comes so fast. I'm speeding it up, but like. even so. Okay, we don't need any more quarry stuff, which is good. You can look in the eyes. Okay. Do we have any more like places we can build roads? Oh, we have to like restart the winds or the like crown things each time, the glory. So each time, like each day, the glory resets. Okay. Give you hope, give you hope. You hear this song and you sing along, but you never tell. What's this world gives you help? I'm gonna put 2 people on the food, on the tavern for now. Now that I've got a forester. Is it nighttime already? Nice. I'm getting so good, like, now that I'm actually learning how to play. What is that? The monster is blocking the way. Provoke it to attack tonight. Okay. Oh, why not? Why not? Sounds good to me. Oh, we need a mine. Oh, we do need gold ore. I think I'm gonna go the gold ore over the forager. Maybe a bad decision, but we're gonna find out. Oh, you can make these people, like, make them visit. Interesting. What's this person want again? I've already forgot. Oh, membership fee. Sure. I don't know what they give us, but... What do you mean? Oh. Okay, we need to get some faith going. We really need to repair the church. Totally forgot about the church needing repairing. Why is that saying it's got full storage for the wood plank? No, I don't know. It's weird. Let's play it now. Keeping an eye out for any new roads, because we're kind of getting up there to where we were at last time with the roads. Storage for wood is full, though. Eh? Is this, are they, like, oh, they are doing gold. Okay, good. I was really confused. I couldn't see them doing gold. I'm like, what's happening? We don't need any more of that. Getting lots of those blue crystals. I don't know much about what you do with them, but getting lots of them. We did the quest thing we needed to do. I didn't really know what it was, but we did it. Somehow I did it. I don't know what it is, but maybe it's with the like that cleric guy that I have.
My spirit is
Yeah, maybe it's this guy. Oh yeah, light. Maybe I need to move forward a little bit. Oh, is this the... Oh, wow. Oh. Attack it! Yeah! You guys got this, I believe! Woohoo! Yes! Attack the Magistrate! Oh no, 2 of my things have died. Oops. Oh no, it's gonna kill us for sure. You got this, hero! Save the day! Woo! Oh my goodness, the hero saved the day, as usual. Let's go. For real thought we was dead, not gonna lie. We defeated the second boss! Woo! Ooh, that was very rough for a second there. 4 of my people died. That guy was tough to bear. Oh. Got 2 new roads. Oh, summoning circle. Unlock building priority system. Oh, you can now set one production building to high priority whenever a worker needs a new job. Always choose that building first, as long as that job is available, of course. Set building priority, however, hover over any building and press Z. You're on. I'll take it. Okay. Cool. Tell me that nobody else. By yourself. This protects your units, mitigates 50% of the damage done to hit points. We love that! Oh, interesting. So you get tower spots and stuff now. Ah, love is just a lie. Okay, which monster are we fighting today? Magic monsters all the way, every time. Every day of the week. Okay, open him there. There's a lot of guys coming in today. Look at them all. Oh, I don't want to pay anyone out. It's too late. It's too late. Oh my gosh, that person's getting absolutely... Oh, melted! Oh, we're getting melted! Holy moly! Woo! Did we win? Oh my goodness, somehow we won. Somehow we won. How did we win? Tell you, our hero is goated. I don't know what they doing, but they doing something right. Holy, that was scary. Okay, Another road. I really need to save up points so I can... Yes, we do need berries because our people are not getting enough food. So give me berries. I'm a berry. And I need to upgrade. I need 1 more gold. There's another road over here as well. Where are we going, friendo? Out here. Oh. Siege engines from all kingdoms. New wares each week. Fine. Wow, we need like 18 to get stuff from this woman. Lie. 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 Should I get I might get a decoration and get a geologist. Oh. No, I need my gold. I need gold. Ooh, catch fish. Yes, please. I want a fish person. Catch fish, please. Oh, we got some more of these blue things. I don't know if any more of those little platforms come up. I don't think so. Oh wow, we're so gonna die this time. No way we're winning that one. Sorry. Sorry, chat. Except of a 78 rounds. 78, like, glory or whatever it was called. It certainly seems like a lot. Start out with 1 gold more. Unlock outpost gold. You can build a special road. We'll try new. Oh, we got level 6 as well. Unlocked Kingdom Relic Bush of Life. Bounty board has better quests. What bounty board? I don't know nothing about a bounty board. Well, we can research a new item for the armory. What is that? Increase rage by 30%? Interesting. Okay, yeah, these need to wait till level 10. Oh, I can get one of these 2 heroes. An explosive demon with a pretty short fuse or moon power. I want to go demon, I'm not gonna lie. Should we do a run with the demon? And then for real, we'll definitely finish. I want to see what the demon's like.
My strength cannot be stopped.
Said I could build a special road, but I can't see the road. Get 2 wood. I'm going straight away. I can't see anywhere where I can build an extra special road. Said I could build a special road. Okay. Monsters are coming! Show me your power, demon boy. Oh! Yeah, alright. You know what? Physical or magic, so I don't know what is gonna come up with options for what to verse. I just know how to Alright, skip straight past the end of the day.
Another battle finished. Standing.
Okay. I'm gonna go magic person this time. Magic damage. Oh, where's that wood going? Oh, it's going to this person to get them. Okay, I see. Saturday. I decide which one to see. I'm trying to like build up lots of food. Because you like really seem to go through food quite quickly in comparison to other things. Alright. Need lots of wood. You need one more stone as well. It's this guy. Oh, I have to wait till tomorrow, I think. Alright. Skip time. There. Just one back east. Ooh. Okie dokie. XP for the least experienced unit. She wants to let me wow. She wants to leave me wow. Oh. Never trust her. Won't trust her. Won't trust me. Never leave me wow. Oh. Trust her. Won't trust her. Won't trust me. Your hand. All over the page. I wish there was like a way to like skip everything automatically that you don't want to watch. I reckon we're gonna absolutely wreck this guy. Yeah, see? Wrecked. What did it get us? Did it return to the farm? Don't know what that means. Do the Helen Keller. Talk with your hips. Shush, girl. Do the Helen Keller. Talk with your hips. Into the tea oven. Hello, sir.
Huh?
Oh, I need to beat him before he reaches you. Okay, I see. Yeah, maybe we need to get a little bit more power. What are you? Look what I found. What did you find? Oh, a mana thing. Thanks. Won't trust no, won't trust me. Okay. Magic. Mickey, you're so fun, you blow my mind. Hey, Mickey. Hey, Mickey. Oh, Mickey, you're so fun, you blow my mind. Hey, Mickey. Hey, Mickey. Oh, Mickey, you're so fun, you blow my mind. Hey, Mickey. Hey, Mickey. Oh, Mickey, you're so fun, you blow my mind. Hey, Mickey. Guys like you, Mickey. Mickey, don't break my heart, Mickey. Been around the night. Right, you got it wrong. Mickey. Say would always put you on. Please, baby, don't. Leave me all alone, Mickey. Oh, Mickey, what a pity you don't understand. Mickey got a heart when you got a hand. Oh, Mickey, what's the pity? Can't you understand? Guys like you, Mickey. What you do, Mickey? Do, Mickey? Don't break my heart, Mickey. Mickey. Rory's attacking my legs. No. Oh, Mickey. Get it to me any way you can. Oh, the Goblin King is getting absolutely wrecked. Hot, like 2 seconds. You ain't touching me, no way. Take me by the heart and you take me by the hand. Oh, Mickey, it's a pity, can't you understand? Guys like you, Mickey. What you do, Mickey? Don't break my heart, Mickey. Oh, Mickey, what's the pity you can't understand? Guys like you, Mickey. No, Mickey, don't break my heart, Mickey. Hey, Mickey. Oh, Mickey, you're so fun, so fun. Hey, Mickey. Hey, Mickey. Oh, there's the special road. Get 2 times gold. Get to 3 times wheat. 3 times wood. I feel like wood's the biggest thing I struggle with, so let's go 3 times wood. Blow my mind, hey, Mickey. Oh, Mickey, it's pity you don't understand. Take me by the heart and take me by the hand. Oh, Mickey, what's the pity? Can't you understand? Guys like you, Mickey. Don't Mickey. You take me by the heart and take me by the hand. Oh, Mickey, what's the pretty? Can't you understand? Guys like you, Mickey. Don't break my heart, Mickey. By the heart when you take me by the hand. Oh, Mickey, you're so pretty, can't you understand? Guys like you, Mickey. I don't know what some of these mean. Oh, Jesus. Corpse, we love you, but Jesus. You have to be so excessive right now? Get the bejesus out of me. don't really know if I'm doing better, to be honest. It feels like I am, but I also don't know. Of the earth beneath my feet. Where have you gone? You gonna live? Saying to summon people to my throne room, and I have no idea what that means. But okay. Yes, double storage space. Woo! We love that. Go talk about it. Well, we know. Well, no. Go very fast, very fast. I want another house. Oh, we can get the house. Yes, a new house, please. Fast! Kill the monsters! Woo! They were at 38 glory. Again, it feels very slow in comparison to other rounds we've played. Go. Oh, what are you doing? Dun, 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 dun. Reputation. Yeah, mini boss one. thought I would have pulled them out far enough, but apparently not. I think I need to upgrade them, to be honest. I also feel like I'm missing some today, but I don't know if I am. We haven't got the monk. We need the monk. Station. Oh no. What do we have? Oh, a present. What are you? Oh, you random. Yes, you can join the party. Are you like a pew pew guy? You look like a pew pew guy. What are you? How many does it say we need? Oh, hello. Sure. Get the upgrade. Okay. Yeah. Oh, here. 4 out of 4. Okay, so we need at least 4 meals. A giant? What on earth is that? Pin. Oh, he's pinned us. Oh. Well, we lost one guy. That's not good. Not looking good, guys. Oof. Got him to half. I just don't think we're going to be able to... Oh, you run into the fire. That's good. That's helpful for us. I don't really know why. But... Oh, no. I need him move. No, he's pinned. He's gonna... Oh, I'll sign out a dude anyway. Okay, good. Thought that was the main guy. I was like, oh, no. Oh, we got this, surely. He's so low. Yes! Woo! Let's go! $71 glory. We love that. I don't have enough to get monk. Good night. Oh. Oh, we can upgrade the fisherman. That with one fish. Alright, back to mining wood now, thanks. I need to get one more blue crystal. Be able to... Yes! Perfect timing. Oh my goodness, how did it get so late? No! It was just like 10 o'clock, like 2 minutes ago. What happened? Be on your mind. Out you all the time. You did again. Up my teeth, I'm in. Me on your mind. About you all the time. Meet again. Good teeth, I'm in. You all the time. I've got Glory 107, 102. Pretty close. Have I unlocked any new roads? Yes, in town. Whee. I actually really like that aspect of like you unlock more of the world depending on like how much you've won and stuff. They're really so interesting. I've never seen a game do this before. Who is this? I smell man flesh. Well, another road. You get 3 roads for getting 100. What's this? Train a paladin. Level 3. Oh. I bet. Oh, wait. Physical. We're magic. Is that my brain? You or your mic? Huh? Wait, what? What was what your brain, you or your mic? My mic. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh, might have been my microphone for some reason. Didn't been, but it might have been. Say hello. It is entirely possible. Need that person to do that? Right. Sorry. Another road. Oh, another purple thing. I get some more blues. Oh, who are you?
The
I'm back. You're right. Ooh, hunt wildlife. Yes, please. Give me some good food. I really need some more people, though. I need to put a house here, I reckon. But I know where my wood is going right now. Away! I'm with you. I'm with you. With you. Oh, we got one guy that died. Rough. There's more down here. Oh, pray for a wonder. Yes, please. No. Storage. Oh. Oh, gold. I need to, like... Oh, I need to make it to ingots, but I don't have anywhere to make it into ingots. I just got a geologist. I got 2 geologists. Whenever I own everything that I own. Not too late, never too late. Trying to make sure my people don't die because I think it gives you like a negative if they do die. But I guess it. Like not good. Never. Another road. Wait, the beer. I wonder what beer does, whether that like feeds them or what. Oh, I lost! Okay. I did pull my troops away because I wanted to try and see if I could lose because it was getting very late. It was very late for me. I'm an old person. Start with 1 gold more. Ooh, raw meat outpost. Interesting. Oh, another gold ball. Kingdom Relic Prohibition. Fun. Oh, I got a new item as well. Another shield. I've already got one of those. Rough. Alright. I'm number 52,536. Look at me there. Like, how good's that, guys? Look. 52,536. Woo! Oh, look! I'm only just below Law. Law's top is 190. I'm coming for you, Law. I know Law's not anymore. No, Law is now sleeping, but... I can say it anyway. Oh my goodness, no, why is there two of me? Oh! What is happening? Okay. Shaky! Shaky. Alright. Let's have a look at Beanos and see who is live and what people are playing and what people are doing. And oh my god, I can hear myself. No, thank you. Thank you. No, thank you. Oh, there's a few people playing Super Fantasy Kingdom. A lot of small streamers, which is really cute. I love that. I don't know which person to read. We're all tiny streamers playing this. Isn't that really interesting? Must be like a little indie game, I reckon. Having a look at all the different streams. And I'm going to decide which one I like. Oh wait, this person's just started. Currently obsessed with roguelike RPGs, Lorcana, TCG, and One Piece. Small streamer. ADHD brain, we love that. Alright. I want to rate this person. Thank you guys so much for hanging out tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed me playing that game. Me and Paris are going to try to organize a day this weekend to play Ale and Tail Tavern, but I know that she's got a super busy schedule, so I don't know when we'll be able to, but we will try and fit it in this weekend if we can. Otherwise, next week for sure. I'm assuming the Halloween update won't like go away, hopefully, so it's crossed because I really want to look at it. No, it's alright. I love you. You are just upset, it's okay. Thank you for saying sorry though. Let's go rate this Beano. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. I hope you enjoyed the stream. Hope you guys had fun. Even if Paris and I aren't able to do something together, I will try and stream again this weekend as well. There probably will be later streams just because my eldest Bean doesn't want to sleep at the moment again. So that's cool. And then during the week next week, I will try and do some more day streams again because it's just a time that works for me. And so I might have to become a day streamer. But I hope you guys, enjoyed the game. If you guys want to see me play some more of it, let me know. I liked it. I hope you guys liked it too. Lady Gaga, we don't need you right now. Oh, yeah, let's finish with some K-pop Demon Hunters. Let's go. All right, thank you guys so much for hanging out. Love you guys. Make sure you guys look after yourselves. Take your meds. Eat your food. Drink your water. No, take your meds. Eat your food. Drink your water. And do all the things you need to do to look after yourselves. I love you, and I'll catch you guys next time. Good night. If you guys are not following my socials, make sure you click on the link. And if you're not in the Discord, come along and join us. We have lots of fun together. And I'll catch you guys next time. Good night. I thought that was shorter than it was.